Hello, everybody out in D-Land and Tuesday night's Principal Chiro Call, sponsored by Band of Brothers. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm happy that we have a wonderful speaker for tonight. But before we get through that, there's just some reminders that y'all should need to write down and also act on. So first, April 10th through the 13th, Clearwater, DE. You see it on the screen. The hotel is the Sheraton Sand Key Beach Resort. It's really important to make your reservations before March 18th or you'll lose the good price that they arranged for us. So do it after the call. And then also bring your staff and also make your airplane arrangements if you're not driving in. And then the future dates for DE, that will be in Atlanta, July 17th through the 20th. And also fall, October 23rd at the 26th. And what's the hotel? I keep forgetting. I think it's the Marriott, where we had the 60th anniversary. Wasn't that wonderful? Don't forget about the Connect groups. If you're not hearing from anybody from your group, maybe you'll reach out. I tried with the Yellow Team to create a email list. So if any Yellow Team member did not get an email from me, please email me at maweingarten@gmail.com. So we'll get you on the list, and then we'll start connecting by email. And so without anything else to really talk about, I'm going to announce our speaker. And when I got in the studio with Amber, I told her that I didn't know her. I've seen her many times at DE, but we have really never ever sat down and have a conversation. And one of the questions I asked her is how she found DE. And she found DE by someone else, of course, recommending her to come. And she was going to another different seminar, and they said, DE's a lot cheaper, and you're going to get what you need by just coming. And talking with her, she definitely got what she needed, because she went back and she changed her practice and became abundant. And she's a beautiful person inside and out, and a mom of two. She practices in Texas, north of Houston. And without anything else, I'm going to let her do her talking for herself. Please welcome Amber Smith, Dr. Amber Smith. Take it away, Amber.
Hello, I am so honored to be here today, and just want to let you guys know how excited I am to share a little bit with you of how I feel and a little bit of my story. And what I really want to start with is talking a little bit about that something. It's one of my favorite stories, and I recall the first time I read it, I said, man, that seems so familiar. And what I recall and remember is as a young teenager, and I always had a longing that there was something within me and something great good I needed to do. I just didn't know what it was. And in all my writings, I always write, and I have a lot of journals, and I keep them all. So I have all the ones from when I was 15, 16, 18, 20. And when I was reading through, there's just that underlying theme. There's something inside. And I remember the first time I felt like that something woke up in me. And it's when I first read, as a young adult trying to decide on a career path, when I read about chiropractic care. And when I read about chiropractic care, something inside of me just resonated. And I said, man, there's something to this. And so I found the nearest college to me, which was Texas Chiropractic College, which, like I said, has 0 principals. I did not get that from there. And I went to the orientation, and I said, man, this is awesome. I was like, man, I want to do this. This is great. But then this is what I want to talk about is fear. Fear crept in. As soon as they went over the cost of tuition, I was in a poverty mindset. I didn't really know about the laws of attraction. I wasn't on that path of the metaphysical journey yet, so I didn't understand it. And so I ran from it. I said, you know what? Never mind. I'm just going to get my bachelor's and I'm going to be a teacher. I came from a family of teachers. My mom was a diagnostician. My dad was a special ed teacher. I wanted to teach, I wanted to help, I wanted to work with kids. I said, I'm just going to just do that. That's fine. But you know, that's something I just distinctly remember. Literally every night I'd go to sleep and I'd wake up and there would just be this feeling inside of me. This feeling that said, be a chiropractor. And literally every day for 6 months, I was like, heard that voice. And I finally said, okay, God, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea if this is the right path or not, but I signed up for school. Never having been interested, never really even knowing what chiropractic was, raised just in basic mainstream medicine, because that time my family didn't know about all those things. And man, it was just an amazing feeling. And then once I started school, my second semester, the universe just lined everything up to where I was able to hear Jim Sigafus, and completely rocked my world, changed my life. I mean, I went from not really knowing exactly why I was doing it to going, man, this is really freaking cool. I love this. And I had to overcome that fear though. I was so afraid to start school and to pursue and to do. And that's what I want to talk about, is transforming that fear and then other fears that's kind of come up throughout life. And how do you transform that into something that is meaningful, something that's beautiful? How can you take that? And that's what I want to talk about. So I want you to ask yourself right now, as we're sitting here and you're listening, you know, I had that fear of that. You know, what fear do you have? Is your fear not being good enough? Is your fear not being worthy of the abundance? Is your fear talking in front of people? Is your fear getting out into the community, or your fear that the negative reaction people may say when you talk about or educate people on the truth that we know? And the truth is, fear can be absolutely paralyzing. It can stop everything, or it can do something different. So what I've noticed in my life is when things are going really good, you're really going to have those obstacles, right? They're going to come up. You're going to deal with, you know, for me, divorce, death. You're going to deal with cancer. You're going to deal with family. You're going to deal with siblings having problems. You're going to deal with, you know, kid problems. But you have to take those obstacles and you have to create them into an opportunity for growth. And so I'm going to talk about some things that have helped me with those opportunities for growth and that affected me deeply. The interesting thing as well about today specifically, when I got the message asking if I wanted to talk, today's the 18th. And yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of my father passing untimely. And so a lot of emotions have come up around that, and I've really been led to kind of talk about that and talked about some parallels that I noticed going through that experience. And the experience, as tough and hard as it is, I learned so many lessons, and I've grown so much from having gone through that. So that's one of the things that really changed everything, was having to deal with that. So what happened with my dad, I want to share some of the details with you because it is important, because what happened to him should not happen. Medicine is what happened to him. And this is where I'm going to pull in my part to it, is that I know chiropractic is absolutely amazing. It's life restoring. Every man, woman, child needs mandatory care. I know this. But I couldn't get my dad to that understanding point. Or, as I say, I didn't try hard enough. I didn't push hard enough to tell my truth that I know, to tell my dad about chiropractic care. Because my dad was not adjusted as often as he should be. And I believe that had a lot to do with why his body wasn't able to be where he wasn't able to get over those things. So what happened to him is he was doing just fine. He started noticing he was a little tired. He obviously had something going on, and he ended up passing out. They called the ambulance. They came rushing in and said, hey, he's got AFib. And you know, if you know anything about AFib, it's not deadly, but you do need to get under control. Well, when he got to the hospital, They did a test, of course, a COVID test. This was just last year. And because the test showed positive for COVID, and he also in 2020 did have the COVID vaccine, which makes a difference as well in your health. And he had AFib. Because of those two things, the emergency room decided that it was basically okay, or it was the what we call it, the lethal dose. It was to give him an extremely high amount of blood thinners, heparin. And within 24 hours of being administered that, my dad was not there anymore. He was gone. He bled out internally over AFib. It's disturbing. I don't know if you guys ever read a book. I had a patient refer this to me, but it's called The Lethal Dose. And it actually goes into how the medicine, and this is where we as chiropractors, we have an opportunity to keep people from medicine. I had an opportunity to keep my dad from that. But I didn't push hard enough because of fear. But this book, The Lethal Dose, talks about how in the schools, the doctors are told to give this dose of medicine that kills 50% of people. But it's what you have to do. And if you buck against them, then you basically don't get to practice anymore. And this person who wrote this book is in another country and had to leave because of that. And the parallels that I want to compare here is my dad, 73. I failed him in not having him adjusted every week, having him checked every week. I'm going to tell everybody here that if there's somebody in your life that doesn't seem to listen or that you don't try hard enough to, keep trying. So we have my dad, and that was last year. And then we're going to parallel my mom. My mom, 3 years ago, was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and basically shouldn't even be around right now. But what happened with her is she retired before that, years before that, and she came to work in my office for me. And she started getting adjusted. She got to see the patients, the changes. She got to hear the chiropractic talk. She never missed an adjustment. She should have been alive 3 months, and she is still here, strong, kicking, fighting, and doing what she does, and she never misses her adjustment. So why is it that my dad at a 73, and I say a healthy 73 because he was very young at heart, and he was, from the worldly standards, fairly healthy as far as physically fit. I thought my dad would live forever, but he wasn't adjusted. So you take someone who's not adjusted, you put stress on their system, you put other things in their body, and then you throw them into a hospital. So my question is, how different would it have been if I would have got over my fear and been firm that my dad had to be adjusted? Would that have changed? And it may have. But going through that and seeing that has made me have the passion. And I'm not afraid to tell anybody anymore that you need to get adjusted. It's not an optional thing. You need this. Your life needs to be restored through chiropractic care. And so when I have patients now that come in and I'm asking, where's your mom? Where's your grandpa? Where's your grandma? And so I'm going to encourage you to look at your life, at your family, people that don't always want to listen. And I'm going to ask you to spend more time with them, educate them more, do more things, because that makes a huge difference. I mean, I learned so much going through that. And I foresee a lot more people being changed and affected because of that. What I learned as well going through DE and being there is that DE gave me the blueprint to how do you handle when things do come up, when obstacles come up, when fear comes up. And my dad passed away at 5 a.m. on a Friday. I had office hours at 9 a.m. on Saturday. And I was there at 9 in the morning, and I was serving. I served like I haven't served before. And I lost myself helping connect other people. And that is how I got through it. I put my care and concern on other people, and that's the principle of DE, is it's bigger than me, it's bigger than you. All these people need what we have. And what we have is so precious and so beautiful. I mean, we have to face our fears because lives depend on it. Lives depend on us telling our purpose and our mission. So today, I take responsibility for my mind, for my thoughts. The dream and the vision that I see is heaven on earth with every man, every woman, every child adjusted. And that was that was Dee Dee and BJ Palmer's dream. In order to do that, we have to have the courage to face the fears, to talk to people that we may not be as comfortable for, to speak. And today when I was reading, I opened up my Lasting Purpose book and I just flipped to a page. And I said, whatever page I flip to, I'm going to read tonight. And I flipped to a page that related directly to fear. So I want to read this coming directly from Dr. Sid, talking about fear and love. It says, if you are without courage, love. If you are without purpose, love. If you are without hope, love. With love as your master, you always have courage, purpose, and hope. On the other hand, if you hang on to your hate and fear, as you are certainly entitled to do, if that's your desire, these negative attitudes and emotions will keep you from getting out in the public, attending meetings, giving speeches, and even taking a chance at initiating a friendship with another person who may be attracted to you. Love, on the other hand, gives you courage, makes you eager to take risks, and prods you through setbacks and temporary disappointments. So the answer is love. The answer has always been love. So we have to face these fears. You know, I was afraid of the judgment of my dad because we had such stark different views. I was afraid that he would just look at me like I'm just a kid, not listen to me. And then my mom, on the other hand, she was more open to those things. She had more of the open mind. She was more into the healing and the things. And so me having that conversation with her was so much easier. And so I just went with the easier conversation. So we got to face our fears. And then we have to cultivate the faith. Because faith and that belief and that absolute belief in something casts out all fear. The third step is to practice love. So you face your fears. You cultivate the faith. You practice love. Because fear is like a dis-ease. It disconnects you from source. When man the physical is disconnected from man the spiritual, bad things happen. And part of our job as principal chiropractors is to tell everybody about it. Because how many lives are changed? How many, my dad's name was Donald, how many Donalds out there in your practice that have underlying subluxations that nobody's told them about? And they're going to have one sickness, go into a hospital, have a drug interact, and then they're not going to be here anymore. And their story could have been told so much longer, so many more years. So what is it going to take for you to step out of that fear and make those changes? Here's an affirmation that I want to share with you. My courage, love, and faith will dispel all fear. Not some. I'll read it again. My courage, love, and faith will dispel all fear. We accept our healing and we are committed to the sacred dream, creating heaven on earth with every man, woman, and child under chiropractic care. So let's take these fears that we have today. I'm hoping as I've talked, you've identified some areas where maybe you've been playing small. And I've been being truthful. I've been playing small the past few years. I've been afraid. I've been kind of hiding back. I've come off of the normal practices that I do. But I'm stepping up because I know that the world depends on it. And I know that it's in my heart that something has led me to want to share more, to be more. And I want to take these fears that have held me back before and to shape them into this beautiful rose that blossoms. The DE principles are life principles. The calls in the morning, the morning breaths, those have been game-changing. I used to do them all the time. Now, I'm doing them every time. And that, in addition to visualizing, so every morning after we do our call, I spend a few moments visualizing the patients coming in that need me. We don't need them. They need chiropractic. And when we do our morning calls in the morning, we do a prayer and we pray for patients that are struggling. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that are struggling out there. When you have higher volume, you get to know so many people with cancers and deaths, and you just have to know that what you're doing is going to make less of that. We can't take it away, but we can make less of it. So today I want you to just remember, face that fear. Cultivate the faith. Do those faith practices. Do those visualizations. Do the calls. Write it on paper. When you write it on paper, by hand, just write what you want, what you see. It's an artistry. You write, and then like Sigafus used to say, you pull from the fifth dimension into your reality. How fast it happens is how much those emotions and how much you believe. And these principles have changed my life from, like Mindy mentioned, when I first came to DE. I mean, I didn't have I barely could get my plane ticket to come. I was struggling. I had therapies and all kinds of other stuff in the practice, and I was not at that faith level. And within a couple of DEs, it just expanded and grew. And then life happened. And now I'm here to be that beacon of light. I'm here to play big and not play small anymore. I'm here to face those fears. And if nobody has told you yet today, I'm telling you that you are loved. You are capable. You're a leader in your community. And I want you to know that I love and appreciate all of you, all that you have done. And I want to have said something that helps you change and have just an awesome week, an awesome day, and just step it up. So thank you guys very much.
Wow. What an awesome. That's what Band of Brothers calls are all about. Being vulnerable and then teach the lesson through the vulnerability. You did beautifully. I can't see behind you. There's it says live life with passion. So the whole thing, all we saw when you were talking was with passion, and like, yep, she's got that passion, but what's above it? Awesome job. You gave everybody 3 steps to just open up their door, open up their heart, and just plow through it and play big. You touched many people tonight, Amber. You should be very proud. And whatever happened with your dad, there's always going to be moments where no matter how much you share and how much you love, they just weren't ready for it. Yeah. But he gave you a story to really step up your game, and that's what you should carry in your heart, because I carry that in my heart for you.
I'll show you this. I have this that I carry in my pocket.
That's it.
And it has
Excellent.
So that's my memory of when you touch it. You know, like when you touch it and you feel it, it triggers you to come back to reality, to the present moment. And so that's why I always carry a rock in my pocket of some sort.
I think there's a thing called a touchstone, and that's it. That just brings you right back into what you were put on this earth to do for yourself, for your family, and for your community. Thank you so much for tonight. You did a beautiful job.
My pleasure.
I love and appreciate you. Good night, everybody.